Good morning, student. In the last video, we were discuss non-cooperation movement, Satyagraha. In this video, we will discuss next movement, civil disobedience movement. In February 1922, the non-cooperation movement was withdrawn because Mahatma Gandhi felt that it was turning violent. Some of the leaders wanted to participate in election to the provincial councils. Swaraj Party was formed by C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru. In the late 1920s, India's politics again shaped because of two factors. The first effect was the worldwide economic depression, and the second effect was the falling agricultural prices. The Statutory Commission was set up to look into the functioning of the constitutional system in India and suggest changes. In 1928, Simon Commission arrived in India and it was greeted by the slogan "Go Back Simon." In December 1929, under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru, the Lahore Congress formalized the demand of Puran Swaraj or full independence for India. It was declared that 26th January 1930 would be celebrated as Independence Day. The Salt March or Dandi March. On 31 January 1930, Mahatma Gandhi sent a letter to Viceroy Irwin starting 11 demands. Among the demands, the most extreme of all was the demands to abolish the salt law tax, which is consumed by the rich and poor. The demands needed to be fulfilled by 11th March, or else Congress would start a civil disobedience campaign. The famous Salt March was started by Mahatma Gandhi, accompanied by 78 of his trusted volunteers. The march was over 250 miles from Gandhiji's ashram in Sabarmati to Gujarat coastal town of Dandi, means Sabarmati to Dandi. On 6th April, he reached Dandi and ceremonially violated the law, manufacturing salt by boiling sea water. This marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Mahatma Gandhi decided to call off the movement and entered into a pact with Irwin on 5th March 1931. Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Gandhiji consented to participate in a round table conference in London. When the conference broke down, Mahatma Gandhiji returned to India disappointed and relaunched the civil disobedience movement. It continued almost a year, but by 1934 it lost a momentum. How participants saw the movements. The patriots of Gujarat and Jats of Uttar Pradesh were active in the movement. They became authentic supporters of the civil disobedience movements, but they were deeply disappointed when the movement was called off in 1931. So when the movement was restarted in 1932, many of them refused to participate. The poor peasants joined a variety of radicals movements, often led by the societies and communities, to organize the business interests, and the Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920 and the Federation of the Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries in 1927 was formed. The industrialists attacked colonial control over the Indian economy and supported the civil disobedience movement when it was first launched. Some of the industrial workers did participate in the civil disobedience movement. In 1930 and 1932, railway workers and doctor workers were on strike. Another important feature on the civil disobedience movement was large-scale participation of women. But a long time Congress was reconvened to allow women to hold any position of authority within organization. The limit of civil disobedience movement. Dalit addressed a untouchables were not moved by the concept of Swaraj. Mahatma Gandhi used to call them Harijan or the children of God, without whom Swaraj could not be achieved. He organized satyagraha for untouchables, but they were keen a different political solution to the problem of community. They demanded reserved seat in educational institute and a separate electoral. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who organized the Dalit and Depressed Classes Association in 1930, clashes with Mahatma Gandhi at the second round table conference by demanding separate electoral for Dalit. The Pune Pact of September 1932 gave the depressed classes reserved seat in the provincial and central legislative councils. After the decline of the non-cooperation Khilafat movement, Muslims felt alienated from the Congress, due to which the relations between Hindu and Muslim workers. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was willing to give up the demand for separate electorate if Muslims were assured reserved seats in the Central Assembly and representation in the proportion of population in the Muslim dominated provinces. Next, the sense of collective belonging. Nationalism spread when people begin to believe that they are all part of the same nation. History and fiction, folklore and songs, popular prints, symbol, all played a part in the making of nationalism. Finally, in the 20th century, the identity of India came to be visually associated with the image of Bharat Mata. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay created the image, and in the 1870s he wrote Vande Mataram as a hymn to the motherland. Rabindranath Tagore painted his famous image of Bharat Mata portrait as an ascetic figure. She is composed divine to spiritual. In late 19th century, India nationalists began recording folk tales sung by bards, and they toured villages to gather folk songs and legends. During the Swadeshi movement in Bengal, a tricolor flag, red, green and yellow, was designed, which had 8 lotus representing 8 provinces of British India and crescent moon representing Hindus and Muslims. By 1921, Gandhiji designed the Swaraj flag, a tricolor, red, green and white, and had a spinning wheel in the center, representing the Gandhian ideal of self-help. Conclusion of this chapter, Nationalism in India. In the first half of the 20th century, various groups and classes of Indians came together for struggle of independence. The Congress, under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, attempted to resolve differences and ensure that the demand of one group did not alienate another. In other words, what was emerging was a nation with many voices wanting freedom from colonial rule. Thank you.